You know what I do know about? I saw that Summer Games
Yeah.
Fest today, Mike. You
I
already
was there
know.
with you, sort of.
In spirit. You know? We
Yeah, you were. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I mean, we'll be going through probably some of the games I think that both of us kind of saw and were interested
Yeah.
in. So I'm definitely not gonna cover everything. There's way too much, but um, I think a lot of it too is kind of just, if I'm being honest, games that just aren't for me, or I probably will never get around to. So I will be sticking it to I think our kind of like honorable mentions type of deal. So and
Yeah.
anyways, but I will let you go, Mike. I don't
Well, I think the main thing we were trying to collectively do is come up with our personal picks from what we saw of like what you would be interested in, and also like the big hype, right? So I think let me go to the list. You're showing the actual article. Oh, somebody actually timestamped everything.
yeah,
Okay, we're putting that link in the description for sure.
yeah.
Um, I think one of the main ones, like right off the bat, that I'm actually interested in is Aliens Dark Descent.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's what you're showing right now, though, is it?
This
No,
this
it
is
is.
this is what
It
I'm showing
is.
right now.
That is. Okay, so Aliens is exactly what it sounds like. For people that are listening, anybody that's ever watched Alien, the movie, and or the movies, it's a video game version of that. We don't really have much context of the characters, but it looks terrifying. It looks like what it should look like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not surprisingly, it's not that gory. I thought,
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
I thought it's definitely like I think they're trying to reach the broader audience. I think they can get away with like a PG-13,
Oh yeah.
like not a rated M game, or maybe there's no telling how it's gonna go. But I do have a question for you, Kyle. Have you actually seen the Alien movies?
I have not. That's actually one of the older series I haven't
Okay.
watched.
Okay, so that explains why. Because when I told you, I was just like, I'm kind of interested in Alien, and you were like, eh.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think you kind of shrugged.
yeah, I did. I mean, for the most part, Alien Isolation is probably the closest I've been to the Aliens franchise, and even that was like a recent
Mhm.
game, so it's like I don't know if it counts, right? It's kind of just like whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm a pretty big movie buff. I've seen a ton of different movies. Like I absolutely love watching movies. I'm the type of person that will start a movie and literally pause it and come back to it like a day later. Like during lunch breaks, I'll put like a movie on. I'm kind of a psycho like that. I'll watch a movie for like 45 minutes and I'll be like, all right, cool. I'll come back to that like tomorrow and I'll finish it up. So I like treat it like a show almost.
yeah.
Um, unless I absolutely love one of them. But one of my all-time favorite lists that you have to watch is Alien, the first movie, because when you find out, like at the time when the first time you see it, when you have no context of the alien creature or like what's actually happening, it is truly terrifying. It's like a
Yeah.
horror space odyssey kind of like, well, Space Odyssey is already a horror, but it's like Alien's absolutely insane and nuts. So to be able to like fight the alien in a video game is for me like I'm probably gonna play it at some point.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Um, yeah, who knows? I mean, I may check it out at some point. I never played Isolation or anything like that, even though Isolation was kind of a more of a horror game, kind of hiding, like you're hiding from the alien type deal. But
yeah, this is
um,
like you go in to like clear it out almost.
yeah, yeah,
It's just a trailer.
it's definitely a different approach. So who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe at some point. But yeah, I don't know. Seems pretty cool. Uh, Following Aliens Dark Descent was Callisto Protocol, which we saw some footage for at Sony's State of Play last week. Um, and it's certainly there wasn't a whole lot more that they. I mean, if they Jeff Keighley, he actually prefaced the thing by saying there was going to be even more gore they were going to show this time around in the second trailer.
Oh yeah, they did.
And let me tell you, they did. But overall, the vibe I get from it is Dead Space. Like it's like if you see gameplay,
Yeah,
which it'll actually get to gameplay here in a second. It is straight up. It just reminds me of Dead Space, like through and through almost. Um, and this it's certainly not a bad thing. I'm 100% for that because I love Dead Space. So and more gory Dead Space. I mean, come on, you're selling me.
oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it seems So I'm gonna see if I can skip to some actual gameplay for the video here. But it just seems like your standard space horror. And foreshadowing a little bit. There was a decent amount, I feel like, of just space like horror games during the Summer Games
Yes,
Fest showcase. It seemed like
it
there was
really
a
was actually.
yeah, and they were kind of all together. And oh man, he just ripped half of his face off, half of his head off, Mike.
Yeah, yeah,
Unreal.
like Callisto. Is that how they pronounce it?
Yeah, Callisto Protocol.
Callisto. So Callisto, it it reminds you of Dead Space, but the level of gore actually reminds me of um, Doom Eternal,
Yeah.
where like it's like when you cut people in half, like blood's going everywhere. It's
Yeah.
like it's crazy. So, what did you gather from the overall trailer? Because from what I just saw in the trailer, it looks as though you're playing a main character that, I mean, he's in a orange jumpsuit with numbers on the back, right?
Yeah.
So it could be like a prison ship out in space,
Yeah. I'm
and
almost starting
there's
to
some
wonder
type
that.
of like, yeah, and it looks like the people that you're fighting are also other prison inmates, but they look like they're kind of corrupted by some type of virus,
Yeah.
like a zombie virus, like World War Z or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you gotta like fight your way out in order to survive. I thought it was pretty cool how they had the animations, like it's a third person point of view where you're not up high, not like an isometric kind of like viewpoint. You're actually like really just like 3 feet behind them to the like askew to the right shoulder, kind of
Yeah.
like driving a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like in
Huh.
a car video game, I thought that was really interesting how they had that set up and the point of view and the like the field of view had it in such a way where like when things jump out on the trailer, it looks like they're coming at you.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like, "Oh, crap. This is too much."
Yeah. For sure. Um,
So, what was your take?
yeah, I mean, I thought the game, of course, looks great. I did want to mention, and I didn't realize this until he came out, but Glenn Schofield is actually the CEO and founder of Striking Distance, the studio that's making this game. And if you don't know who that is, he was actually the I think he was one of the founders of Sledgehammer that did Call of Duty back in
Oh,
like 2012, I think 2011, something like that. They founded the studio, I think, like 2009, but they headed up Advanced Warfare, like that Call of Duty.
yeah.
And it was him and Michael Condrey, and then they both actually split off from the studio, like 2018, I think. And then Schofield, I think, went to do some stuff. He eventually, of course, founded Striking Distance, which is this new studio. But yeah, a little history there. I thought that was interesting. The second I saw him, I immediately recognized him from like doing like COD back in the day. That was funny. So I mean, it gets me even more interested to see, what this game's going to be about, since he's heading that studio. But I mean, yeah, this is something I'm definitely going to check out, I think. It's right up my alley, single player, crazy, don't know what's going on, but it's also horror. Like, I just love that. And this is the style of
Yeah.
horror that's not like, I don't suspect it to be like cheap jump scares. I expect it to be genuine, like ambiance and environment is terrifying kind of horror. So,
Yep, I
um,
hope so too.
I'm all
I
for
mean,
it, man.
just looking at the HUD of the game, you have no indicators.
Yeah,
You see that? There's literally, like there's no, like, center reticle or where things
yeah,
are. Um, it's just all kinda, like, in your face. The only time there's a reticle is when they pull up, like, a gun
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah.
And
And it
that gun
seems like,
reminds me of Portal too.
yeah,
That just, like,
yeah, it kind of
the
does.
gravity gun. The grabbing people and throwing them, and then, like it's really gory. You're like, "He's shooting off arms."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm assuming that there's like a green bar behind the player model's neck, and I'm assuming that's the health. So it's a pretty creative way of like kind of throwing the UI into the environment.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea. I didn't even catch that. It
Yeah,
looks like a barcode similar to where Hitman had his barcode.
yeah, it does. But yeah, I mean, he's just stepping on this organism. I don't even know what that is. It's
Well, that looked like it's just a giant, big, like, round dude that got converted into this monster creature.
yeah. Oh, but I mean, you see blood everywhere, heads flying off. I will probably not show it, but there is a segment where essentially the player, it's a death animation where the actual player
Yeah,
goes into like this turbine thing, and like there's a
yeah,
second where he's going into it and he's like struggling to get out, and then like you
yeah.
kind of feel for him
It
for a second. You're like, oh dude, this is gonna be bad, and then it just pulls him in, shreds him just instantly. It's like,
Oh, yeah,
oh
the
man,
animations are are no joke. So it's like like the monsters or whatever you want to call them. I'm sure they have some type of name in there. Like pushes him back into the turbine,
Yeah.
and he gets crushed and he gets caught. And the way the animation works is like it zooms in real close to the actual character face,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh no, that's too
Yeah, it's
much.
bad. Oh. Anyways, great looking game. I'm definitely gonna check that out. December 2nd
Oh,
is when
for
that's
sure.
coming out.
Yeah, that comes out yeah, December 2nd, 2022.
Yeah. End of the year. Nice little end of the year closer. I think it'll be good.
Mhm.
So other thing I wanted to mention, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but COD Modern Warfare 2 got a gameplay
Yeah.
feature of one of the missions in the game. Does look, I mean, it looks like it's running off the COD Modern Warfare 2019 engine. Looks really
Oh, yeah.
good. I mean, I have to say this engine, like graphically, is just crazy, and like it always has been since 2019 came out. Um, and I think overall, I mean, the story is probably going to be phenomenal. I mean, Modern Warfare 2019 had one of the best campaigns, probably like any COD. Um,
In a while. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, and so I have no doubt the campaign's probably going to be very good. Um, I there's we've mentioned it before, in the past. And I know I mentioned it, but like it's just like I'm so nostalgic of the old CODs. It's like I just don't know if I can get behind multiplayer for this, like especially on this engine. It's just like I just miss that arcadey COD feel, and like the newer engines just don't have that. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's that. Maybe it's just the fact that the whole style for me is just kind of stale for this type of shooter. But it probably
That's
also has a
interesting. I
factor.
didn't
But yeah, it's newer engine.
see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how you felt with the new COD. I mean, for me, I thought I've actually, like, really liked the change.
Yeah.
I was kind of a grinder on Modern Warfare
Yeah.
for a
Which I think
while.
I think most people do, like, to be fair, I think most people like it. And I can see
Yeah.
why. It's just for me, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just I miss that old I miss that like kind of I don't want to say cartoony, but just like that very like kind of
Yeah,
just
you miss
arcadey
the
feel.
feel. The
Yeah.
like, the nostalgic feel of, like, what makes a COD game.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
It kind of
It's
it reminds me of like, people that enjoy the older Halos, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of people that just enjoy
yeah.
those games. It's I empathize like so hard with that on the COD aspect because like I miss those old COD games.
I totally understand where you're coming from because when I look at this Modern Warfare 2 trailer of basically for people that are listening, you need to go watch it first of all because it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's clearly on PlayStation though. I will say that. So it can only get better on the PC.
Yeah.
And it still looks phenomenal. So they look like they're storming an oil rig because there's a rocket on top of like the top of the oil rig that they're going to launch. It could be a missile, like intercontinental missile or something, and they get up to the top to turn off and disable everything.
Yeah.
It's like a total raid. It's crazy and it's really gory
Hmm.
too. Um, but for me, it's like when I look at this, it actually reminds me of Battlefield. So I totally get what you're saying. It's like it's not the arcade feel of what COD was.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. Like this to me, this immediately reminds me of Battlefield 3.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I like. That's what just bugs me about the new COD so much. It's like they try
Yeah.
so hard to be realistic, and if you're too realistic, I'm sorry, Battlefield did it first. I'm immediately shoehorning you into the Battlefield like wannabe like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which
I
maybe
totally get that.
yeah, I just maybe that's too far, but I miss old COD, man, and I don't know. Unfortunately, I think I always will. I'm just gonna be one of those old heads. I feel like with COD.
Well, it's gonna come back, right? Because they always have what, 2 or 3 different studios actually working on COD.
Yeah, there's three. So you have Treyarch, Sledgehammer,
So
and Infinity Ward. And I
that's
think for
right.
the most part now, the studios they communicate too. Like Treyarch will help out with some aspects, and like they're
Oh,
very
for sure.
collaborative now, which is great. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's always typically one that kind of takes the helm on it. But I mean, that model's changing. We reported that COD 2023 is not happening. They're taking a year off to
Yeah.
focus on make the game
Mhm.
better, which I'm very excited about. I'm curious to see what comes out in 2024. Because I'm really hoping they take that time to kind of reevaluate. But I mean, at the same time, since Modern Warfare 2 is running off this new engine, I don't suspect they're going to leave this engine, and I can't blame him. I mean, look at it. I mean, it looks
It's
great,
amazing. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm always gonna miss it, man. I'm always gonna miss it.
Yeah. For me, I'm excited.
Yeah,
So I think this is more for me because like I really liked the Modern Warfare game. Like I got back into COD through that game,
yeah.
and I really like the stories. I like the campaigns of pretty much all CODs. It doesn't just have to be the most recent one. And this to me looks like the Battlefield game that I wanted to play that I didn't get.
That's very
You know
true.
what I mean? Like just to be
Yeah.
real, like 2042 was a total bust, and they need to fix it before I get on it.
Yeah, definitely.
And this game really looks interesting. So what time? Like when's the release date for COD Modern Warfare 2?
It is October 28th, I believe. It's end of October. I know that. It's like last
This
week.
year?
Yes, this year. This
Sheesh.
is the
Okay.
2022, and then next year they're not having a release. So this is gonna be the last COD for a couple years. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Warzone 2. I think there is kind of like a second iteration of Warzone almost with this new release.
Yeah.
So I
It
don't
seemed
know too
more
much
like a
about it.
DLC
Yeah,
from what I understand. I haven't actually played it.
yeah.
I know a lot of people have been grinding it though and said it's like fun.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, Warzone's one of those things. I think it's always going to kind of be like a kind of like a game as a service type model. I think especially with like the
mhm.
newer COD that came out, like you said, it kind of just added on to what was already there. And I
Yes.
have a feeling that's what's going to be, unless like the engine drastically changes. Um, although they are saying this is running on a quote unquote new engine. I don't know how new it is. I don't know what they changed. But they are improving, I guess, upon what was already there. So again,
Yeah.
we'll
It
see. I
just
guess, yeah, we'll see.
it depends on how they define new, right?
Right.
So,
I
it's
mean,
like if you make a couple iterations of a like of the engines that still make it
yeah.
new because
That's
new to me is like building from the ground up.
Let's see that, and that's my idea. I mean, and Mike, just to be just an honest question here, when you watch this, does this scream new engine to you from 2019?
No, it does not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't for me
No.
either. So,
No.
um,
I think visually it looks good. It probably looks better, but no, this doesn't scream new engine. I will say, like, the way this person in particular is playing and gaming, uh, it's I don't know how to put it. Like, this is the problem with demos when you get those like in
yeah,
real gameplay demos. Is like I'm better than you. So when I watch you play
yeah,
and you're missing or you're not playing as quickly, it's like I get you don't wanna make the people that are watching it, like, motion sickness, but
yeah,
it's like, I'm out here playing games for hours at a time. Like, I'm
yeah,
used to it whipping around quick. I watch streamers, like,
yeah,
"Whip it around for me, please," you know?
yeah. That's what I'm
Quit
saying.
being so casual.
Yeah, see, that's the thing too. I mean, you're exactly right. It's like they're very robotic in their movements, and it's just like,
Yes.
oh, like why? Like,
Yeah, and
but
it's like, "Come on, man, you can whip it quick," but who knows? It could be like alpha stage, and if they go too quick, they get screen tearing, you know?
I mean, yeah,
But,
that's a good
like,
point.
that's a real thing that could be happening, I don't know. So, it's just they're really trying to just showcase the graphics. If you're moving too quick, you don't see the graphics.
Yeah, right. You don't
You
see the
don't
motion
take it
blur.
all in. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sure. Yeah. Anyway, that is at least my thoughts on the new COD. You know,
Mhm.
we'll see how it is. I mean, I'm not itching at the bone to play though, so we'll see. Um, the next title is kind of worth mentioning. I felt. And I know you certainly felt the same way. Mike was Witchfire.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I think a good honorable mention,
Yeah,
I think
for
would
sure.
be the best way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. So show some quick gameplay here for a second. It's the first thing whenever I saw the gameplay, it screamed Destiny, like Destiny 2 kind of like
Yeah.
style. It's like the hand cannons and like you're running around and it's kind of just
Yep.
I mean, if you're watching this right now, I think you immediately see exactly what I'm talking about. It's very much like the punching animation's kind of the same to like a Titan in Destiny. It's like
Yeah.
it's and like you have like the like what they just showed there with like the kind of the weird like kind of aura that comes
Like,
out from those like those motions. It just reminds me of the
or
Warlock. Like it's
or
just like
maybe, like, Elder Scrolls possibly? Like,
yeah,
with guns?
yeah. See, and I heard that too. I heard a lot of that, kind of Skyrim, Elder Scrolls kind of world with guns, and I can see that too. It's definitely that same vein. Um,
Yeah.
kind of like a mix of Skyrim meets kind of Destiny type thing. Looks a lot of fun though. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I don't play Destiny too much really. I mean, I think last time I played was like over a year ago. But I mean, I'd hop on this with some friends just to check it out. It's kind of a
Oh,
new
yeah.
setting and everything. Why not?
Yeah, this screams the type of game like, we don't really this is just gameplay, and it's all out of context, really.
Yeah,
So we don't actually know, like, what's going on, what the story is. but what they're showing is really interesting. And if they do go with that like Destiny like 2 kind of vibe, I mean, how sick would it be to get on this like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, whenever they do any type of like raid boss battle kind of thing, similar to how Destiny 2 works.
Yeah.
Just grab your boys, grab the friends, bring them in.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely a nice little game I think to check out. Is it said in the trailer it was available soon to wishlist on Epic Games. So
Yeah,
available very
that's actually
soon. So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, very cool stuff there. Um, let's see. Let me go down the list a little bit more here. Wasn't there was of course some great games. I know like Fort Solace and Routine. Those two games are very again based in space, kind of like a horror kind of thriller type vibe there. Certainly worth watching at some point if you haven't. Stormgate. The only reason I'm really mentioning Stormgate is because it's a brand new RTS game, which I feel like we
Yeah.
really haven't seen in a long
And
time.
it's
Um,
been forever since we've seen any RTS come out.
yeah. And what's interesting about this, I saw an article that said some of the old StarCraft 2 devs left Blizzard to work on this
Yep.
game at Frost Giant. So
Yep.
a lot of potential here if you're an RTS fan. I think there's with a new game on the horizon, could be something to grind, and who knows, man, maybe RTS can make a comeback. I don't know. I'm not an RTS fan myself, but I mean, it seems when I see people play StarCraft 2 competitively, I'm just like, what the heck? So
Yeah.
this will be another thing. The trailer itself, it kind of doesn't scream RTS, but I think that's most RTS trailers, and they just they kind of show the characters, the character models and whatnot on like on a smaller scale, but nevertheless, new RTS is on the horizon. So if you're a fan of that at all, it's definitely will be worth checking out.
Yeah, the graphics look pretty sick in this cutscene. You know what it
Yeah.
reminded me of? Like right off the bat.
Hmm.
Have you ever watched any of the Overwatch character background story promos?
I haven't, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes. So it's like we have no idea who this person is. There's no like nothing's in context at all. It's like she's just on this adventure. It
Yeah.
looks like she's excavating some ancient ruins, has an ancient like I don't even know, like medallion metal piece or whatever, and like puts it up into a hologram, and all of a sudden just summons all these things around it to like build a super powerful shield. It's like then some random boss comes out, like dragon looking. What's it called? What is that character called from Lord of the Rings? A
You're asking the
Balrog?
wrong person because I've never seen Lord of
I
the
think
Rings.
it's you. And I just said I was like a movie buff. Okay. Everybody
I wanted to say that because I knew I'd get that reaction.
Okay. There's this one scene that Lord of the Rings sidetrack, like real quick. It's a famous scene. Most people have seen it, even if they haven't even seen Lord of the Rings. When Gandalf, the Grey Wizard, the Grey Tall Wizard, is like hanging from the edge and he's being pulled down by this like dragon beast. And he says, "Fly, you fools." Do you know what I'm talking about? He's like yelling at the rest of the fellowship. You
No,
have no
I saw
idea. I'm
one.
so sad.
I think it got spoiled for me though in a meme where like Gandalf like fell off a cliff, or maybe it was Dumbledore. I can't remember. It was some like
Same guy.
older guy that just like fell off a cliff and
Literally
died,
same
and I was
guy.
like, oh well, that's spoiled for me. Whatever movie that is. So I don't know.
It doesn't spoil it though, at all.
Oh, okay, well that's good.
You need to go watch it.
Yeah,
It's
I guess
actually
I have to.
pretty insane.
Yeah.
But I could talk about Lord of the Rings for an entire podcast episode, and I can also talk about how you've never seen Lord of the Rings for an entire podcast episode. But
Oh
what you
man.
said, let's just go back to the beginning. Stormgate, the new
Yeah.
RTS, you said
Stormgate.
it has
Uh,
creators from Activision Blizzard.
yeah, it has some of the devs from Activision. Well, I guess some of the devs from Blizzard that worked on StarCraft 2. So got some
Yeah,
experienced
so
people in that house.
and it would also make sense why I got the Overwatch vibes of the story-driven like characters
Yeah. Yep.
right off the rip. And
Yeah.
it doesn't really show any gameplay at all.
Yeah.
So this
It
is
doesn't.
mostly like, hey guys, we're working on a project, register on the beta. It looks like they got a lot of money backing it.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. It's Frost Giant too. Pretty well
yeah,
known.
I
Pretty
think
well known.
they got this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. At the end of the trailer it says the beta will be in 2023. No exact date, but just kind of a window there. So there will be a beta next year for that. Again, RTS fans, check it out. Seems like it'll be right up the alley for most people. Assuming the gameplay doesn't completely flop. I mean, I'm not gonna go that far and say that, but you just never know. You never know, Mike.
I feel like the RTS genre in general is kind of fixed in a certain way of how it should be played.
Yeah,
So, I how could you go wrong unless it it's either you can't copy the main guys right now because everybody's just gonna be like, "You're just copying them. Why would we play this game?" So they
yeah,
gotta be innovative, like, in some direction in order for people wanna play it.
yeah, yeah,
But
definitely.
early access, time to sign up and give it a shot, honestly.
Time to sign up. But it's you know what it's time for? I mean,
What's that?
I ain't gonna get mad, all right? But
You were real
I
mad
was pretty
earlier.
upset earlier,
You
all
were
right?
DMing me a lot.
I was pretty
You were
upset. All
you're
right, so
upsetting spaghetti.
so I'm just gonna get some context. Um, if for anybody that has seen, it was E3 2014. Dead
Yeah.
Island 2 was premiered as an up and coming game, an up and coming sequel to the beloved franchise by Deep Silver. And it was the trailer essentially is a guy jogging on a pier and he's listening to music and he's seeing people on the pier kind of turn into zombies as he's running and he's like playing music in his headphones. So all you hear is the music, but the world around him is just like being decimated.
Chaos.
and then
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden at the end of the trailer he's like turning to a zombie himself and it's the whole thing and then like the zombies turn on him and yeah, it's anyways, that's enough context you need. Jeff Keighley comes out, this bold man right here, and he starts hyping it up. I've been playing some of the audio.
Sequel we've all been anticipating for
Sequel
a long time.
we've all been anticipating this. Oh, Trouble in Paradise.
Don't want to get bitten.
You don't want to get bitten.
After many years
Zombies?
of rumors, we finally get an update on this much anticipated sequel.
Oh, it's anticipated. So, anyways, he leads it with that, and then the beautiful people at Coffee Stain, they decide to essentially one-to-one rip almost the trailer to Dead Island 2.
It's basically a rip.
Yeah,
Like,
a
it's
direct
almost
rip.
yeah, it's literally down to everything, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
mean,
another
look,
guy warming up, stretching, putting on music.
like I should have known from the graphics, like, okay, this isn't it. Like, but like I was just like I was riding on euphoria at this point, Mike. I was like, dude,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is it. Like, bro, this is the next game. Okay, this is probably some weird like start, whatever. But they literally and it's like the goats are just out here like being the zombies in this trailer. It's the funniest thing ever. And so
Yeah, goats just come out of nowhere with, like, jetpacks on laser beams,
dude,
just destroying people, driving cars, wrecking, getting out, firing bazookas at, like, people in, like, kite
I mean,
surfing
yeah.
or whatever.
In
Kite
hindsight,
flying.
it's hilarious. Like it's really
Oh,
well
yeah.
done. Like it's just so funny. But
And he steps in goat poo, messes up his brand new white shoes, turns around, and goats just staring at
there's
him.
4 goats just ready to pounce on him. Oh
And then he
man.
gets headbutted in the face.
Yeah. And then his Goat Simulator 3, which I don't even think there was a 2. I'm gonna be honest. I think they just pulled a Windows and just went from 1 to 3. Like it's just
Dude, that would actually be hilarious. I'm gonna verify because I don't remember there being a goat simulator
yeah, I don't think
2.
I literally don't remember either. I'm pretty sure it was only 1. I don't know. It makes it funny too. It adds to the irony. Like they're ripping on Dead Island 2, and it's not even Goat Simulator 2.
Oh my, yeah, there isn't a goat simulator 2.
See, there
They
you go.
literally did Goat Simulator 3 to troll. This is
This
just one
company, man.
giant troll.
This company, man.
Well, the reason why
Stain.
they're doing it is because Dead Island 2 came out when? Like,
Well, it was first announced in 2014, and so everyone's like, "Oh, 2016, 17, we'll see the game."
oh yeah,
And then
it hasn't even come out.
just development hell from there. It's bad,
Yeah.
dude. Oh man. But like I think 2019, 2018, 2019 was the last time we heard an update on it. So it's like it's funny too because it's like if we were to hear something about the game, like it would make sense to do it now. So it just adds to this. It's the ultimate troll.
Yeah.
Like it just for any Dead Island fan, it's the ultimate troll. So
It really is.
I was literally screaming for like a minute, like, dude, let's go. Like I was like so hype. And then I just see
Yeah.
goats. I'm like
Just see goats?
It's just like I don't know, man. It's gonna take me a while to recover. Like as much as I'm saying I love it, it's just it hurts, man.
You're emotionally devastated.
It hurts, man. Not gonna lie. I don't know. Goat Simulator 3 coming out this fall. Who cares? You know, I just wanted it out. It's like, whatever, dude.
You're so upset. Your notes over here in all caps. We got Dead Island 2 baited.
We
So
did. Like,
upset.
am I wrong, Mike? Like,
You are
so
not wrong.
frustrating.
You're so upset. Oh man.
Well, there's other games to go over. All right, so there's that. I think the biggest thing, the next one I want to talk about, more content coming to Warframe.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
I know you were particularly excited about this. And I'll skip ahead a little bit. They announced they're apparently talking about some events that have been in the works for a while are finally coming to fruition. And they show some gameplay. Excuse me, they show some gameplay. And I will say Warframe as a game itself is very there's a lot of stuff when I watch gameplay of it, I'm like, whoa, because like it just artistically looks awesome. Like the environments look sick. Like so yeah, new expansion coming soon to actually very soon. We're talking, gameplay reveal next week, and then after that it's probably gonna be
I'll rewind that.
too
Are you
long.
sure it didn't say July?
Well, yeah, so this is the gameplay reveal. It's gonna be at 10:00
Yeah.
live, which is July 16th. So I guess a month, not next week.
Yeah,
I read
a
that
month
as
and a
June.
week. Yeah.
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 Read that as June, but it's
I
July. So yeah, so that is next month, July 16th, at 5 p.m. Eastern. They will be doing a live gameplay reveal of the new update, but they announced it at Summer Games Fest. So there's also like free Twitch skins. I think if you watched the show, you got some Warframe skins. So if you actually didn't just catch the live, and if you watched TennoCon, get some stuff too. So very cool stuff on the Warframe front. And let's see, other things that caught my eye. Just skimming through real quick. I know there was a Fall Guys announcement. I think it was maybe even before this. Yeah, it was.
It was above Stormgate.
Yeah.
So they're doing it's going free June 21st.
Yeah. Very, very
which
awesome.
Which is sick.
Yeah.
That's one of the games that got Gwen on, and she was playing that, and she was like, "Oh, this game's actually hilarious." It's like, yeah, it's a total blast. Like, customize your character. It's super goofy. Like, run around. It's like, who doesn't like Fall Guys? And honestly, if you haven't even heard of Fall Guys yet, I'm kind of disappointed in whoever's listening to this. It's been like such a massive game that blew up like overnight, 2020. So
yeah, exactly. Blew up, stayed around. But yeah, they're still doing updates for it. It's good to see. It's good to see they're still around, and the fact that they're going free to play, that's a market right there. So very excited for them on that front. Oh yeah, the biggest there's I think maybe two more things I wanted to highlight on my side. Saints Row announced the Boss Factory, which is actually yeah, exactly. It is the ability to create your character before the game launches in August 23rd to be exact. So you could literally log on today on Epic Games Store. You could download the Boss Factory. You can customize your character today. So if you want to do
that's pretty sick.
Yeah, if you want to do any of that stuff, it's pretty cool stuff. I'm not going to show too much of the trailer, to be honest. There was some nudity in this, so they actually yeah they showed some nudity. So just to be safe, I'm not going to play too much of the trailer. But that is if you are looking forward to playing the new Saints Row game that's coming out soon, definitely worth checking out character creation, customize your character. So you won't spend hours before playing the game, because I mean that's a real thing with a lot of like RPG kind of like games like this that have character creation, especially if it's extensive. I mean, you could spend hours just creating your character before you even play the game, and it's like you get to a point where you're mad at yourself for taking so long because you want to play the game, but you want your character to look good. So it's like this internal dilemma. This bypasses all that. You don't have to worry about it. Just create your character ahead of time.
Later.
Also, I lied. There was a couple things. There's like maybe 4 things I wanted to show. The Layers of Fear, if you know that horror game, that is getting a sequel. Or Layer of Fear. Now it is Layers of Fears, plural. Looks very interesting. Let's show some gameplay here. Layers of Fear, like Layer of Fear, was one of those horror games that was like very unique and like it was like a kind of a mind bending horror that was like, you play it and you're like wondering what's real and what's not. So the fact that there is kind of a sequel coming to this, very exciting stuff for especially if you're into the horror genre. So trailer is wicked too. I highly recommend you go and watch it if you're at all interested.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
yeah,
It's-
yeah, they call it
it's-
psychedelic horror. That is the perfect description.
Yeah.
It's kind of the style of game.
it looks like a fever dream, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Like a fever dream that's got you terrified out of your mind, but it's also like you want to solve and you want to figure out what's going on with the story.
Yeah. Best part,
Like,
it's main Unreal Engine 5, Mike. I mean, come on.
all right, well, sign me up. I was already intrigued, but now I'm just like, I guess I got to go play the first one. I wonder, you probably don't even have to play the first one, right? Because most times
Nah.
when these like horror like games end, the way it ends is like to have a proper conclusion. Like everything's finished. It's like a standalone movie almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So-
mean, you know, I suspect with a game like this, it's all about the gameplay and like, you know, what
Yeah.
they do. So yeah, I mean, if there's plot, I mean, prove me wrong, but yeah, this is something that is gonna be on Steam, Epic Games. It's also gonna be entirely next gen only or current gen only, so PS5, Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that is, you can add to your wish list soon. They don't have a date yet when that's coming out. But I also want to talk about Gotham Knights a little bit. I know we covered this recently. They recently announced that they were dropping their old gen compatibility. So they're only coming out on, you know, PS5 and Xbox Series X, which is awesome. I think. I think, you know, we're at that point in the life cycle where I think more companies should just solely focus on that. And Cyberpunk was a perfect example of why old gen is, you know, just not keeping up with current game development. So it's very exciting stuff. For those that don't know, Gotham Knights, it's essentially a game that takes place in Gotham City, but Batman is dead, and so there's, I guess, you know, his other heroes of the city, essentially, or anti-heroes. They go, you know, they fight crime, I guess, and whatnot. It's kind of that type of thing.
Yeah, all the major ones from the comics, basically.
Yeah.
Robin looking like the primary character that they're using to market.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, did they announce the date that this October 25th of this year?
Yeah, it's this year.
Which should be around the same time Black Adam's coming out, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't, because they showed the Black Adam trailer, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't catch a date on that though when that was coming out. I know it's soon.
Let me see.
But yeah. Because is Black Adam a part of this, or did I miss that?
This is interesting. Okay, so Black Adam comes out October 21st. So 4 days after the fact, Gotham is coming out. So that's pretty interesting because Black Adam is like, dude, the one thing you love about DC comics just in general is they're very, very dark. It's like they're very adult kind of like themes, whereas Marvel's a little bit more like cartoony, everything's sunshine and roses kind of thing. Whereas like, I mean, every origin story in Batman is horrific. And Black Adam like is a superhero that kills people. It's like this is nuts. So I'm really interested to see like can they take the comics? Can they take the hype of like the most recent Batman movie, the hype coming around with Black Adam, and encompass that into video games as well? Because like Arkham Knights, have you ever played or seen any gameplay for that?
Oh yeah.
Is super highly rated and amazing.
Yeah, dude, they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gotham Knights, I mean, it's got me intrigued too.
Yeah.
I want to see how that ends up.
Yeah, for sure. But the closer of Summer Games Fest this year was Neil Druckmann came out, talked about some Last of Us stuff, gave some updates on everything. Prior to Summer Games Fest, the original trailer I think that we're going to close with unfortunately got leaked, and that was for Last of Us Part 1, which is going to be the remake of the first Last of Us for next gen or current gen, for PS5 specifically. So that that actually has a release date of September 2nd, which is a lot closer than I thought that game was coming out. So they trucked through that thing, man, to get that out.
Oh,
I think
so.
I mean, I guess in perspective, it was announced pretty shortly after Last of Us 2 came out, which was 2 years ago, almost to the day that game came out. So
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
crazy to think about. We're about to celebrate 2 years with that game being out. Um, but yeah, so I guess it should be no surprise, but also it's just crazy. Getting a release date for a game of that caliber this short of a notice is good on Naughty Dog. I mean, for just doing something like that, because you don't see that
Yeah.
much. But yeah, the game looks fantastic. We'll show a little bit of the trailer, but the remake it does look phenomenal. It looks like essentially they just took the Last of Us Part 2 engine, slapped it onto Part 1, and they remade it. From what Neil said, they remade. They have a lot of the AIs, of course, vastly improved from the first game, and the combat's way better choosing the new system they have for 2. And essentially they just they took they made the game. He said like Neil Druckmann said anyway, they made the game they wanted to make with like doing this remake. So very, very happy for them. He also Neil also went into detail about the HBO show. The Last of Us HBO show is still in the works. He said that tomorrow, at the time of recording this, so January, June 10th is when they wrap filming for that. So they'll be done filming, and then hopefully early
That's
next
really
year.
cool.
Yeah, hopefully early next year we'll see that. I'm very excited to see that. And they showed a screenshot from it. It just looks really good. So I'm very excited for that. They also give a little surprise too. The original voice actors for Ellie and Joel in the game are going to be starring as well in the TV show in very significant roles. They aren't just making cameos. They actually do have proper roles in the show. So of course they aren't playing the main characters, but it is really cool to see they're collaborating with the developers of the games and trying to make something genuine. So very, very excited for that. And that was pretty much majority of the wrap up. I know,
They talked about it for quite some time.
yeah. I mean, it was like a solid 10-15 minutes. I think at the end they kind of talked about everything, and trying to just skip through some of it and get to the get to that main trailer at the end. I don't know. It's really cool to see them back and kind of talking about things. But yeah, so they show a little bit here. There's even at some point, and if it's not shown here, you can certainly look it up. But it's they do a nice little comparison between the older game and the new game,
Yeah.
and it's very noticeable
looks
the differences. I mean, yeah, if you just look at this, I mean, it's just the amount of detail
looks
is
like
insane.
Yeah, it looks like the most recent game.
Yeah,
It really
it does.
does.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely. It seems like they're definitely doing a good job on this remake. Of course, it's 60 FPS too. That butter that PlayStation 5 gives the newer games.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing playing Last of Us 2 on the PS4. Was 30 FPS. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it still was a great game, but definitely held it back a little bit, I think. So the fact that we're getting all this in 60 FPS, I mean, you already know it's gonna be going.
But yeah, I could see a lot of people going back and replaying it.
Yeah.
Just because it's like 60 FPS is a big deal.
Yeah.
30 to 60. We've talked about it, I think, our last episode.
Yeah.
Or no, the episode before that where we were talking about the new monitors coming out
Oh
with
yeah.
360 hertz or whatever ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, it's 500 or something. I don't remember. But the point is, right now, it's like that big of a change. It's pretty significant. And it's worth going back and visiting,
Yeah.
especially for a game like Last of Us, where the replayability, if you can just increase the graphics and frame rate already, it's like I can play it.
Yeah, it's wild. They also mentioned a side note when they were announcing when the game was coming out that it's also in development for PC. So it's another thing there. It's coming out on PC.
Yep.
They're getting all these PlayStation exclusives, baby, on PC. But yeah, they show the comparison here. It's crazy. I mean, you just see this, it's like whoa.
Yeah,
tell
it's
that-
significantly better. Like right off the bat, you can tell
Yeah, it's just
it's
it is
720p
crazy.
compared to like 4K. It's like it's
For
so
real.
good.
Yeah, the amount of detail. Very exciting stuff. I mean, I think I will say, like, maybe the only downside for me is that I'm sure, and I believe I read somewhere, I heard somewhere that that this is probably since it is PS5, it is a PS5 release, it's probably going to be $70. But I mean, it is a remake, so you are. I mean, you're getting a brand new game almost, but I mean, it is a lot of the same story. So if that's something,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest, but who knows? Maybe if I see reviews and it's crazy, then I don't know. Maybe we'll be like, whoa, like it'll be worth it. But yeah, exciting stuff. Glad to see Naughty Dog still doing stuff. And Neil Druckmann also teased at the very end that they are working on new IP. There's a new project that they are working on.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
but yeah, oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Probably the most like the coolest thing out of this that we could get the most detail on was they are working on a standalone multiplayer game in the Last of Us universe. And from what it sounds like, it seems like almost and at least from what they show in like concept art, it just looks like this huge kind of it almost gives me like Division vibes in a sense, like in the Last of Us kind of universe. They of course don't show gameplay or anything. They said we'll get all of that next year. But there's already speculation like this could be like they're saying even like Neil Druckmann said it's going to be bigger, I think, than people expect. And it's so big that they couldn't even put it with Last of Us 2. They had to make it standalone. So it's getting the hype.
Nuts.
It's getting the hype going, man.
Yeah, that's definitely getting hype going. I wonder how much work they've gotten done so far.
Yeah.
On it, if it's that big.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume they worked on it fairly shortly after Last of Us 2 was out and the bugs were fixed and everything.
Yeah.
At least I would hope. So, there's probably at least, I would think, a year and a half of development, I would suspect. And then if they're waiting until next year to actually talk about more, that's going to be another year. So, yeah, I mean, I think by the time they show stuff, it'll probably be at least a couple of years in development.
Okay, cool. Well, it's
yeah.
definitely good to see. So tomorrow, they have apparently Netflix, Epic Store, and Tribeca Games. And then
Yeah.
Sunday is the big day
Oh, yeah.
with Xbox and Bethesda.
Xbox Bethesda on Sunday. So yeah, I mean at the time, if you're watching this the day we post it, it's a possibility that the Netflix Geek Week presentation already happened, so you can see new shows and game related stuff that's coming out from Netflix. I think Jeff Keighley is co-hosting that as well. He also said at the very end that Summer Games Fest is returning in 2023 with digital and in person, which makes me think: are they going to compete directly with E3, or is he just saying this because it was just in there already? And because I don't know, it was very recent we heard about E3 coming back, so I'll be really curious to see what comes of this. If there's actually going to be direct competition between them.
Yeah, it's that. Hey man, competition's good in this case. So
sure,
we'll see how it works.
Yeah,
that's a next year's issue though.
Yeah, it's a 2023
I mean?
problem. I ain't gonna worry about it now.
For now, I think the only issue we're having to deal with personally is we don't have another episode until next week. So by the time we get to covering it, most people should have seen it by then.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're still going to be covering it for sure.
Definitely still gonna talk about it and go over. And if it's banger after banger, I mean, it'll probably be a long segment. But
yeah, to be honest,
so, I mean, regardless if people know about it, we're definitely still gonna cover it. So make sure you check back in next week if you're living under a rock between Sunday and Friday. But we give our expert opinion here, right?
We really do,
and I vouch
honestly.
for it. I think it's a good opinion. I'm just saying.
I love my opinions.